Good evening. Hi, I'm here to show you how to make splices. Last time I made splices with number 14 solid wires. Now I'm going to do a combination of splices using number 12 solid and stranded and solid and stranded. Here we go. Put that away for the moment. Nipexes and Klein's Romex strippers. In the more professional videos, they cut these wires ahead of time. I'm not a professional video maker. First, we're going to take 4 number 12s, and I am going to make a splice by hand, not using lineman pliers. I don't like using lineman pliers because sometimes I think it just puts too much pressure on the wires. I like the feel of my hands, and it gives me good feedback as to when to stop twisting and doing other things. Take these strippers this time because you all saw the fiasco I had last time. Who knows what's going to happen. These are kind of beat up, but we'll see. Maybe they'll do something pretty good. Holy sheep shit, they work. Strip about 2 inches of wire. Actually, since it's number 12, maybe like 2.5 inches of wire. Now, if you have a douchebag boss that says 2 inches or 2.5 inches of wire, oh my God, you're spending my money like that, kindly take your pliers and get the fuck out of there. Don't work for this guy. He's a douche. Now, the key is to get the insulation straight with each other. That is very important. The insulation must be even with each other, otherwise it's all bullshit. Pardon my French. Now, you take these number 12s, you bend them back, okay? You make a nice L shape, 90 degrees or more. 90 degrees is probably good enough. Now, insulation's nice and even, right? Okay. Then you do a twist like that. The reason for the extra length is so you could get nice leverage with your fingers. All the guys complaining about their hands hurting and all that stuff. us, us 18-year-olds, we got strong hands, So the point is, if you're going to be doing this for years and years and years, learn how to use the leverage, save your hands for better endeavors, okay? And make it nice and tight. Now look at that. That is tight. Okay? That is nice and tight. Those are 4 number 12s. Okay? See? Purty. Cut it about, I don't know, 4 or 5 twists in. Take a nice red yellow now. Tan red. I'm not sure. I didn't look at the box. But some of you guys may not know, the box or the bag that you get these from tell you exactly how many wires of what size and what combination you can put under one of these. Okay? So let's assume that this is good for 4 number 12s. I don't know offhand. Some of you guys might. This is a 3M tan yellow. I believe it's 3M, right? Anyway, put it on. Twist it on nice and tight. Solid. This ain't going nowhere. Okay? You back it off. And then if I get more successful with this, I'm going to buy some high definition camera gear so you could see the notches cut into the wire with the little razor blade springs. Ooh, there's a little spring in there with razor blades. The point to the wire nut isn't just to insulate the wire, it's to cut into the wire with the razor blade thingy spring in there, conical spring, and tighten it so when your wire heats up and contracts, because all metals for the most part heat up and contract, some do it very little, some do it a lot, like aluminum. They'll expand and contract when they get heated over time. Repetitive cycling, things like that. You don't see it, you can't see it, but you get these little microscopic things happening. And if you don't have a wire nut and just a beautiful splice like that and have it taped up, what will happen eventually, and this is sped up like 10 bazillion times, this will happen and your wires will loosen up. That's why you need the spring, the wire nut, and a nice twist on it. Now, don't do this. I don't know if you've ever run into psychopaths on the job site that will spend their time and do ridiculous things like this. Those people should be summarily executed and their bodies should be hung from the highest telephone poles. Okay? It's dumb. It's a waste of time, and it makes it incredibly difficult to troubleshoot or add new circuits if you need to. Okay, so that was 4 solid number 12s. Now we're gonna do 5 number 12s. Nice 2.5, 3-inch cut now. Okay, and being that I was using Romex, I have all these stranded wires now. And let's pretend there's insulation on these. Make the insulation even. Okay? bring your wires together, and you're going to take a group of 3, and you're going to keep the wires side by side like that. Okay, you put your thumb at the point where you bend them. Right? You bend these down. And now, what you're going to do is you're going to twist. Now, why the 3 inches? I don't know. God made it that way. I can't help it. The 3 inches are so you have leverage. You twist, you turn, you twist, you twist, you twist. That, my friend, it's not exactly perfect, but you'll see like one wire is always bulging. It's almost impossible to do a twist and have it perfectly like crossed, whatever, like you can with an even pair. You got one wire that's kind of sticking out, okay? But nice and solid connection. Cut that. Now we're going to take my old trusty red yellow and do the same thing. And you twist. Now let's get these straight like they're hanging out of a box someplace. I gotta make this over here because I don't have any support from a box or anything like that, so I sort of need to make a 90 degree to hold this. You twist it on until it's nice and tight, and well, you can't really turn it anymore with your fingers. This is tight. This is tight. These wires are not coming apart. Okay, that was 5. Now, we're gonna try 6. I'm not making any promises that this is gonna come out right. It's a little difficult, but we're gonna do 6. Okay, so again, the key, insulation must be even. So let's pretend these bare wires have insulation on them and they're even. Alright, and what you want to do, you want to try to keep the wires as straight as possible, and you want to keep them, make a 90 degree angle. Keep these flat, keep these flat as possible. Okay? Now, again, for you old guys with rheumatoid arthritis, bursitis, any kind of itis, the key is a nice long lever here, okay? And you make a nice twist, and at the end, you got a solid twist. Okay? But like, notice the shape of it. There's some ridges and valleys over here. It would be ideal if it was all even. Okay. Make an even cut on the end. You don't want one that's longer than the other, because that creates all sorts of hassles. I tend to do a little back twist, then get a front twist action. Now, this is a previously used wire nut, so it's not easy. In this case, you might want to take pliers or something to get them started. Also, try not to reuse wire nuts. Once you use them, leave them on. You take them off, you can put them back on the same set of wires, but don't use them on another set of wires. You know, it's not a good practice. Now, I feel with my fingers that I have a nice, solid connection. Okay? Now, again, got 6 wires in here. I'm not 18 anymore. I can't crush an apple with my right hand anymore. A little twist. Nice and tight. Everything seems to be tight. Okay. I'm going to torture you with one more video, or one more little sort of, lesson, whatever. Take my handy stranded number 12. Put that down. Now this is how I take combinations. Take your 2 solid wires, even again, very important, keep them even. Then I'll take a stranded wire on one side and I'll take a stranded wire on the other side. What I'll do is I'll match the pair. I'll match up a solid and a stranded on one side, solid and a stranded on the other side. And do the same process. A little leverage there. Again, make sure that the insulation is even. Okay? And do the very same twist. Oh my God. You need about that much. You want to make sure that you got at least 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, depending on what the instructions on your box says. Put it on, twist it nice and tight, and try to get those razor blades to cut into everything. Very important. Nice and solid. Nothing's coming apart. Okay. This is where it gets fun. This is where it gets controversial. This is where men will literally burn other men's houses down, and women's too, because of this one controversial issue. And that issue is my favorite thing in the world. One of my favorite things. It's a waggle. It's a waggle. Some of you guys find this to be the bane of your existence. Others seem to think it is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I think it's greater than sliced bread. It's sliced bread with peanut butter and jelly and a cup of milk all together in one package as far as I'm concerned. But here's the thing. A very simple little gadget. There are guys still capable of fucking this up. I can't believe it. I didn't think it was possible. Absolutely can totally fuck something so simple up as sticking a wire in and dropping down a lever. I don't know. But here's the key. First of all, I don't have it here now. I have a automatic tool which I set to the exact length that, I'm not sure if it's on this thing, but on the box it gives you, there's a little, I don't know, you can't see it with my high def equipment. There's a strip gauge. Use that strip gauge. Use it. Okay? It is important that the wire is seated all the way and that none of it is sticking out of the Wago. I see it all the time. Literally. Sometimes a guy will have 1/8 of an inch sticking out. This is a live wire. Neutral, not so bad unless you have arc fault circuits or something like that. And let's say your ground wire and your neutral wire somehow cross paths in the box, you're going to have constant problems with your arc fault breaker. If it's a hot wire, well, you know what happens when the neutral and the hot meet. I should hope that most of you guys know. Stick it in. Make sure it's seated all the way. Some guys maybe get like a false seat. It doesn't sit in all the way. They got it in, but it's not really in all the way. Get it in there all the way. Stick your next one in there. Drop the lever down. Now, the beauty of these things is this type of Wago doesn't care if you're using solid or stranded wire. This is good for, I think, 24 all the way down to number 12. Now, with the stranded wires, you got to be careful that all the strands get in there. What I have here is I never cut it here, so it's making it difficult for me to manipulate the wires. Take the stranded wire. You give it a little twist. Make sure it's in there and that none of the strands are sticking out. Very important. Don't let the strands stick out. Nice and straight. In there. In there. In there. In there. Nice and solid. Ain't going nowhere. Problem with the other push-in connectors, the ones without the levers. Some of them are not meant for stranded wires, but guys stick stranded wires in there. Some of them are. Some of them are easy to work with, some of them aren't. I like the Ideal brand for the push-ins. I don't even use the Wago brand. I use the Ideal brand, and they work quite well for me. Now, years ago, you were only supposed to use solid wire in these things. Now they made them so that you could use stranded wire. One of the big problems is guys putting anything they want to in there. You got to follow the instructions. Okay, that's nice and solid. I've been using these for 2 years exclusively. Had no problems. Zero. Zilch. The only problems I ever had with push-in connectors was me making a mistake, not checking my work, not pushing the wire in. Okay? It's like anything else, whether it's a twisted splice, whether it's whatever. check your work. Okay? People's lives depend on it. Guys don't check their work. Nice and solid. That's it for this evening's lessons. I'll be back. Like it or not, I'll be back.